Hey guys, your boy R is back at it again with another video. So this video is going to be made at the request of a subscriber, or at least I think he is, from the first video that I made. In the comment, he asked if I could talk about new anime like Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm not doing that. I don't do anime reviews. Not going to. I might talk about anime maybe down the line if I feel like it, and that'll be like an offhand conversation. But I'm not going to be making videos surrounding anime unless there's something really crazy that I think is worth talking about. Because I literally haven't watched any anime this year, and I have no intention of doing so. So aside from that, the second half of the comment was going to be the topic of this video, but he said that his father died from cancer, so that it would be nice to hear some motivational content and things from that nature. So I don't know how to like motivate you. I don't think that's the right wording to use when someone that you care about dies. It sounded like to me that he was looking for a video in regards to how to deal with grief. So I'm going to be covering that. But everyone handles grief differently. So instead of telling you how to handle grief, I'm going to tell you what not to do when handling tragedy or anything of that nature. So the first thing I'm going to tell you not to do is to not hold in any of those negative emotions that you might have. Yeah, any of those negative emotions that you might have. And that can be sadness, hatred, anything like that, anger, whatever. Let that out. Seriously. Don't hold any of that shit in. It will destroy you from the inside. I know this personally because when my father died when I was 15, I suppressed my emotions for 4 years. And that, so basically, I was in my sophomore year of high school and I suppressed it until my freshman year of college at Bucknell. And yeah, that was horrible. And that ended up resulting in me essentially having a mental breakdown in my freshman year. And I had to do what was it? I had to do a health withdrawal. And I was essentially at home, severely depressed, taking antidepressants, not doing anything for a year. So yeah, do not suppress your emotions for any reason. If my story doesn't give you a warning of what it's like to, if my story doesn't give you a thorough enough warning of what happens when you suppress your emotions, I don't know what will. But that's just one of the things that you shouldn't do. One of the other things that you shouldn't do is that you should not take out your negative emotions on those around you. Specifically, what I mean by that is don't try to like offload your emotions onto others. And I know that that's one of those things where, people like, I need someone to talk to. And like, I understand, like, you absolutely can talk to somebody to, get your emotions out and all that. But what I mean by like, don't just offload your emotions. Don't like while you're essentially you meeting up with somebody or you're talking with somebody and you're talking about like what it doesn't matter what it is. You could be talking about football or um politics, whatever. I don't really care. I don't know what you fellas talk about. But don't in the middle of a conversation just start talking about like how you're like how you're the person that you lost or whatever tragedy is affecting you. Make sure that there's a proper like leeway. Ask if like if you're like if basically if the conversation isn't like stirring in that way, don't just like essentially bring it up out of nowhere because it's extremely awkward and you're putting the person you're talking to in a very weird position. So just don't do that. If you want to talk to somebody and offload your emotions, ask that person if you can do that first. If they ask you, then obviously, like if they ask you, like, "Are you okay about this and that?" Then obviously that is leeway for you to say, "Yeah, I'm not doing that great. Here's why." Blah blah blah. But please do not offload your emotions at random on different people that may not be mentally prepared to deal with the suffering you're dealing with. People around you aren't obviously paid or contracted or even obligated to do that for you. So if someone does ask you, or if you ask them, can I talk to you about this? Be grateful that they're even asking you, and be grateful that they're willing to give you their ear to offload whatever negative emotions you might be holding up or penting up within. One of the other things I would say to not to do is do not basically don't isolate yourself. That will say that's the third thing that you shouldn't do. Do not isolate yourself. Isolating yourself is literally the worst thing you can do for your mental health because you end up stewing in your own negative thoughts. That's one of the reasons why it took me so long to get out of my depression to begin with, is because I was constantly within my own head and I had no one to bounce my ideas off of. So I essentially would put myself in a self-perpetuating cycle, if that makes any sense, where I would basically have these negative thoughts, and because I wasn't doing anything about them, that reinforced the negative thoughts, and therefore the negative thoughts kept occurring. So do yourself a favor and do not isolate yourself. That is not a good idea under any circumstances. Try to be around people that care about you and that you care about. Again, if you don't want to bring up your emotions just yet, you don't have to, like I said, don't offload onto onto people or whatever onto in people, but you know, try to be around people that you care about and people that care about you. And, try to, like, don't forget about whatever tragedy or whatever you're dealing with, but try to do things that you enjoy, you feel like, that could improve your mental state. Do just like, I don't know how else to emphasize this. Just do not isolate yourself. It is a horrendous idea that will only backfire on you in its entirety. At the same time, don't pretend like. Also, I will say this is the fourth. This kind of plays into the first thing that I said. There are people that I guess this might count as a form of suppression, but also don't pretend you're okay when you're not. So I guess that does play into that. So yeah, we'll combine those 2 points. Don't pretend that you're okay if you're not. If you're not okay, get some help. Try to find a therapist if possible. Or like I said, just talk to people that are around you that you know or will be willing to listen. What else? What other things can you do? I would say that aside from things that you shouldn't do, I would say that one thing that you should try to do, if possible, is to exercise. I noticed that when I started exercising, that definitely helps clear your mental state and gives you some of that energy back. Usually, when you're dealing with a tragedy, your body starts to shut down a bit, and you lose a lot of the drive and energy that you had due to the negative emotions that are coursing through you. If you're dealing with like anger or I mean, this can work for anybody. Like if you're dealing with like anger, sadness, or general depression, just exercise. I mean, the one of the best ways to get those emotions out is to literally let out, give out bursts of energy. One of the apps that I'm currently using to work out every day, I try to work out or exercise at least twice a day, is called Lean Fitness Group. So they have a version on the App Store. I think it should be on iOS or Android, but whatever app store you use. Lean Fitness Group, or not Lean, Leap Fitness Group. You can basically, maybe you want to do some at-home exercises, maybe do some jumping jacks or anything like that. Just look up that group, and maybe you'll find something along your lines that might be interested into you. Maybe you want to lose some belly fat. Maybe you just want to do some general exercising. Maybe you want to build some abs. I don't know, man. Just burn. You gotta get that energy out somehow. And I know for a fact, from my personal experience and from other people that have dealt with depression and sadness and things of that nature, that exercise is a great way of getting yourself back together. So try to exercise. If you can't do any like major exercises on your like on your like the first time you hear this or whatever, or whenever you try to attempt it, you don't have to go all out from the jump. That will burn you out and make you less likely to continue, which is going to just put you right back in the same spot you're currently in. Start small. When I first decided to start exercising 2 days ago, not 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 2 months ago, I decided to do 10 push-ups, 10 squats, and and I mean, obviously that was hard, but after I did that, I basically just kept increasing the difficulty day by day to the point where I was doing 30 push-ups, 30 squats. What was it? I was basically practicing punching form. So I would punch with a weight in my left hand and do that 30 times, and then punch with my right hand and do that with a weight in my hand 30 times. And you just got to increase the difficulty. If you're able to do that, the 10 push-ups, 10 squats, it's not that hard. Then you'll be able to keep exercising as long as you can do that once a day for like a week. You'll be able to maintain that. My cat is now meowing for my attention, so that's cool. Anyway, I think that's the only thing I can really suggest. Like I said, don't hold in your emotions. Don't offload your emotions onto other people without permission. Try to get help and try to, exercise, burn off energy, things of that nature. Don't pretend like don't pretend like you're fine when you're not. I think that honestly, one of the biggest flaws, especially for young men, is that they don't really, they feel like it's not okay to talk about their concerns or issues, which causes them to sort of, they basically just keep it inside, and honestly, those people end up, so a lot of those people end up committing suicide. Like if you've paid attention to suicide rates, that is one of the, I would say that's probably one of the biggest reasons, is because they feel like that nobody cares about them, and that there's no one they can talk to about their problems. And what's worse is that for some people, finding actually finding a therapist and trying to get help is actually a pain in the ass, depending on where you live in the country. So it's definitely not the best situation in this country, especially for trying to get mental health. It's not. I feel like it's something that needs to be discussed more, especially in today's culture with all this cancel culture fuckery and things. But try to get help and be around people, and that's all I can really say. Hopefully, to the person who made that comment, hopefully this video was helpful to you in some way, shape, or form. And to anybody else who's dealing with grief or any other negative emotions, hopefully is basically just a standard guide for what you should and shouldn't do when you're feeling that way. I'm obviously not a psychologist or a therapist or anything. I can only tell you what not to do and what to do based off of my own experience. If anyone has had similar experiences or tragedies or anything, feel free to comment that down below and talk about what helped you. If you haven't gotten through it yet, you can comment that, and if I see it, I'll respond to it. If you have gotten through it, then comment what you did in order to get over it. And hopefully this video is helpful to some people in that regard. Other than that, your boy Ars is out.